Alright, hello everyone and welcome. Welcome to the pre-stream for a long and epic day that is ahead of us. I thank you for being here on the pre-stream. We will be starting within just a few short minutes. A 7+ hour marathon. I'm probably going to be playing till roughly around 8 p.m. Pacific time tonight. That's kind of the time that I've blocked off in my day here for this special event. This event is 100% due to the patrons for the month of May. So I would like to take this opportunity to give a very special shout out to anyone in the month of May who was a patron. Because of you, directly because of you, we're going to have a very special day, a mini marathon of Crash Bandicoot. Yes, the patrons actually have been voting for several weeks after actually nominating games for about 2 weeks, where the choices were either a classic Sonic the Hedgehog marathon, a Banjo-Kazooie marathon, or a Crash Bandicoot marathon. The patrons voted for Crash. And it was actually an incredibly close vote, just so you know. It was down to one freaking vote. Yes. The way that it worked is that anyone who had pledged $5 in the month of May was able to vote. And basically it was down to one. I think it was like Sonic had like 12 votes. I think Banjo-Kazooie had like 16, and so Crash had like 17. So down to the final vote of the $5 patrons. And here we are. I'm very excited for today for multiple reasons, okay? Let me explain. First of all, let me actually, since I'm talking, I'll turn off my air conditioner. I'm going to turn the air conditioner back on when I start playing games again, but for purpose of my intro here, I'll turn off the air conditioner so it doesn't affect anything. Number one, a lot of people don't know this, but, you know, I actually did kind of grow up. The late 90s was the time period of my life when, yes, I was playing video games. I was playing console games, but mostly it was arcade and Street Fighter style games. There were a few games that I was, had a lot of fun playing. I remember in particular on PlayStation 1, games such as Resident Evil, Street Fighter Alpha, the original, was one of the earlier PlayStation 1 games that I owned. I'm trying to remember, Twisted Metal. Oh god, Twisted Metal was so good. I remember that game. Even though now you look at it and you're like, oh, it hasn't aged well. Back then it was freaking awesome. And, platformers, I did play some. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I didn't play platformers at all. I played some platformers, but I didn't play a huge ton of them. Crash Bandicoot was actually one of the games that I did play. I remember renting this game several times. I remember going to the local rental store, probably Blockbuster Video, or there were some local places as well. Back then, this is when video game rental stores were huge. We're talking, these rental places where you would go before the internet, right? Before the dawn of the internet being so fast and everything being instantly on demand. You really needed to go out of your way to rent videos, to play games that you didn't own, right? So here we are in the mid to late 90s, right? And in order to play a game you didn't own, you had to physically go to the store and pick it up. And this is one of the games I got a few times. There were some games that even though I never bought them, I probably ended up renting them a few times. And this is one of them. I remember at least 2 to 3 times I had played it. I liked it, but it certainly had a difficulty factor to it. I remember, the platformers back then were very unforgiving. It's not like today where you buy these platformers from Nintendo and you start out with 400 lives. If you die, you start over anyway from the same spot. You know what I mean? Today the games are very watered down and made a lot for the kiddies. Although it's funny because you say, oh, Crash Bandicoot was very challenging, but quite honestly, it was made for all audiences. It was made for kiddies, but it was also made for older people. It was kind of a game that tried to appeal to all audiences. And I remember playing the game and liking it, but thinking, man, this is the kind of game, the only way I would ever beat this game is if I bought it. Because when you play a game, those rentals back then were only like 2 to 3 days tops. And so you play it a few hours a day, you didn't have really enough time to beat the game. Especially a game like this where there's a lot of trial and error. You can't just sit there and focus on it. A lot of the times, back then when I was a kid, I remember I had a couple hours a day maybe where I could play. during a weekend or whatever. So I remember, thinking this is the kind of game that if I'm ever going to beat it, I need to buy it and kind of focus on it. And this is not one of the games that I bought at the time. I remember, I had never really gotten to the platformers to the point where I figured I would purchase them. But the game is pretty historic in the fact that it is the origins of Naughty Dog. That's right, Naughty Dog, which went on to make many more storied games on PlayStation systems. I think right now, of course, they're most known for games like Uncharted, but of course, recently The Last of Us, and before that, the other action-adventure style platformers that they had made on the PlayStation 2. And, they have a good history, a running history of great games. But this was actually their origins, if you can believe it. Crash Bandicoot, a huge part of the Naughty Dog origins. And so I'm excited. I'm excited because I am going to re-experience retro games that I have not played in quite some time. I have not played the Crash Bandicoot games since the 1990s, all right? So this is going to be a cool retro experience to share with you all. I am kind of force-feeding myself to play it all day, so I get the feeling that after a while the rage will build. And let's face it, platformer games are the best kind of games for that rage. I've actually heard this game does have saves, but they're actually very scarce that you need to use a password system. So I actually have a pad of paper in front of me to prepare for the password system. And just watching the intro here, you watch the demo. I'm watching the demo run of the game here, and it looks pretty awesome, like really classic platforming stuff. And I'm looking forward to it. I hope that we all have fun, enjoying this. Excuse me. A few quick things. I am playing this. This is the PlayStation 1 version of the game, but it is being emulated on PlayStation 3. So I just want to make that clear that it is being emulated on PlayStation 3. So there is a little bit of input delay. Now, it's not a huge input delay. It's not like, oh my god, I press it and it takes half a second for it to react. In fact, I'm moving the cursor right now on the main menu screen, and I can see it's a slight bit of delay. It's not huge, okay? So I'm hoping that it will not amount to too many fails, or that my fails will be legitimate, It's a cheap death, it's a beginner's trap, versus, man, I pressed the button, or man, I know I pressed left or right, and it didn't input until later. That would be annoying, but I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal. The thing is, here's the thing, the way I see it. A lot of people don't realize this. If you remember, many years back, I believe it was it 2011? I think it might have been 2011. I did a Mega Man marathon. You guys remember that? Or was it 2010? Remember that summer of Mega Man, where I played Mega Man 1 through, what was it? Mega Man 2, 3, 4, 5, was it 6? I think I played like 6 Mega Man games that summer, everything that had been on the NES. You may not realize this, but when I did that marathon, I was playing it on an actual NES console, all right? But I was doing it on a new, newer definition television, high definition television, and it had massive delay. I mean, I'm talking, big delay. And that game, that series, traditionally has a lot of timed jumps, timed issues that, are really difficult to do even if you don't have delay. And I got through that. It took me a while. It took me a couple of weeks to get through all the games, but I did. I pushed through it and eventually beat all of those games. So if I can do that, you know what I mean? If I can do that, and I can beat it with massive delay, I can beat all the original Mega Man games, I'm pretty sure that I can succeed with Crash, although there may be a tough uphill climb and there may be much rage and much fail. I think I can do it. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm sticking to it. I'm going to do my best today on this marathon. Now, a few quick things. If you're enjoying today's marathon, if you really like this, and you're like, man, I wish Phil would do more stuff like this, understand that in the month of July, the end of July, today is the 1st of July, by the way. The end of this month, I'm doing another marathon, and what games I play is going to again be determined by the patrons, people who pledged in the month of June. And that poll will be going up later this month. They're going to be voting, gee, do we want to see Phil continue with Crash Bandicoot? Do we really like it? Or do we want to see Phil switch over to a different game? Do you want to see me play Banjo-Kazooie? Or do you want to see me play Sonic? Okay, it's all going to be dependent, I guess, on how you guys like this marathon. And then coming in August, what I think I'm probably going to do in August is a different kind of marathon. I'll mix it up since I've done this kind of retro platformer style marathon for a couple months. I'll maybe go back to indies, or we'll do something different for August. All right. So, I would like to definitely say thank you to the patrons for the month of May that made this marathon possible. Obviously, I want to say thank you to the patrons for the month of June, because, ladies and gentlemen, big announcement. I announced this on Twitter last night, but I might as well announce it first on stream here. Yes, we reached all of our goals again. For the month of June, we reached every goal on Patreon. Yes, and I was a little worried because I didn't really mention it near the end of the month because of all the stuff that had been going on with DDoS attacks and, the swatting that happened last week, all the negative shit that I'm going to leave in the past. But because of that, I really didn't have an opportunity to talk about it much. But yeah, kind of last minute, we hit it. We hit all the goals for the month of June. Right now, those patrons are going to be charged over the next couple of days. It takes about a week for everyone to go through and get charged, okay? Then I'll begin working on those perks, all the rewards and perks for the people who pledged in the month of June. And then we'll see what kind of marathon we're going to be doing, going forward, okay? So I just want to say, throw that out there. Really, thanks, because that's great. And, it was very successful. Excuse me. And I'm very happy about that. What else? Before I get started, I'm trying to think anything else I want to mention. This will be going on to, like I said, to around 8 p.m. Pacific time, so around 7 straight hours of gameplay. There'll be a few breaks in between for me to use the restroom or get a drink or whatever, okay? But for the most part, it's going to be a steady gameplay stream. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, some people have been asking this. I am using a face cam. In fact, we're implementing what's called the Crash Cam this time around, so you're going to get to see me and my face rage as I die during the gameplay. Should be good. One quick thing I noticed, it seems like the volume, when it goes to this game, is really low. I don't know why. The volume seems really low. So what I'm going to do is try to pump up the volume as much as I can, make the game as loud as I can. If people are saying I still can't really hear the game, I may have to lower my microphone a little bit. You know what I mean? I'll do what I can. I can't, perfection is not going to happen here when I'm emulating a PS1 game on PS3, but we'll adjust that on the fly. We'll see what we can do in that regard, okay? That's really about it. I really don't have too much else to talk about. I'm very excited for this stream. I just want to let everyone know who may be tuning in. Oh, man, Phil's not playing Batman today. No, not today. I'll be playing more Batman Arkham City tomorrow. Arkham City, excuse me. More Batman Arkham Knight tomorrow. Tomorrow will also be a new edition of Ask the King, my Q&A series. All right. And, yes, that's tomorrow. And so please post up your questions to the King of Hate website on the forums. We've already got a thread going for tomorrow's episode. You must post up those questions quickly. They must be posted up by tomorrow in order to be eligible for the show. And I think right now I have around 70 questions. I typically like to have around 100 or so. So please post up as many questions as you can. Great questions, please. Basically the more questions that we have, the better, right? Because traditionally the more questions that I have, the better ones I can pick out for that show. So please post those up. That'll be the first stream tomorrow. Arkham Knight will be second stream. I want to remind everyone this Friday, I'll be doing co-op with Leanna for the first time in a couple of weeks here. We're going to be doing Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham. Yes, that's going to start this Friday. That's going to be fun. In particular, pertinent time to do it since it is Batman week, kind of, Batman couple of weeks here with Arkham Knight. Lego Batman 3, it's a perfect time to play that game, and that's going to be going on once a week for the entirety of probably July until we beat it. So that should be fun. And then this weekend, things kind of get back to normal. I'll be playing Arkham Knight all weekend, probably doing optional content. The DLCs, I got the DLCs I never even did. You know what I mean? So lots of stuff coming up this weekend, all right? All right, everyone. So that is it for the pre-stream for the Crash Bandicoot mini marathon. Again, very special thanks to the May patrons who made this possible. Special thanks to the June patrons who recently pledged. You guys will be able to vote on if you want to see more Crash next month or not. But that's pretty much all I've got to say. Let's end the pre-stream. Let's get going with 7 solid hours of Crash Bandicoot. Yes! Yes! Yes!